This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association, your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers, right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning broadcast team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, and Mark Magnuson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Mark Magnuson.
Hello and welcome into today's episode of Ag Matters PM on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Mark Magnuson. Today is Wednesday, October 5th, 2022. We're so glad you could join us for today's show. And in today's show, I talk with Zach Leiser of Growmark about managing water runoff, and we also have a look at the ag weather outlook. But first, let's run down the markets.
It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net.
At the end of another trading day, we are talking with Jacob Burks of agmarket.net. Jacob, what did we see in the grain markets today?
We saw some back and forth trade here, some pretty tight ranges in the corn market. Not a lot of exciting movement anyway. Bean market stayed down most of the day, tried to poke its head above the unchanged level, but failed. Wheat, on the other hand, wheat's made a big, strong push higher midday, backed off here as we go into the close a little bit. And when you back up and look at everything, we did a lot of moving in the wheat and the corn, and to really settle up, near unchanged, probably a penny and a half higher. Bean market, on the other hand, a dime lower as we speak, closing up here around that 1370 level in new crop.
Jacob, something we've talked a little bit about, and it continues to be a developing issue, is the low river level on the Mississippi River and the fact that some of the barges have had to go with lighter loads down the river so that they can float. What is that current situation like, and what's that going to do for the future for the markets?
Last week, the river, made regulations to, I think, 8-foot drafts, and that was, basically you're floating a half a load down the river, and some of the lower spots down on the lower part of the Mississippi have, some extreme backups, miles and miles long of empty barges. And so, what that does to our Midwest basis, especially, locally right here along the Mississippi River, we're used to having a strong, river market, export market in the Gulf. And the barge freight has just increased so much that we've seen the basis really take a dive into where it's almost not even competitive. You're more competitive at taking to the truck houses or the rail houses, and letting them truck it out to some end users. So it's a unique dynamic for us right here. It's how do you manage in a cash market whenever it disappears? And we've seen a lot of different things, whether it's the cattle market or whether it's the some of these wheat markets that all of a sudden your end user's gone. How does this affect your marketing? And we're dealing with that right now along the river. So we luckily, you're seeing some of these, end users crush plants, stuff like that in the beans, because we're most heavily beans right now in this central part of the Corn Belt, and you're seeing them, buy only as much as what they can grind throughout the day. And so that's, you're seeing some no lines because they're closed. They're not taking any beans in right now, and once they get full. So it's a unique dynamic, but I think if you guys got storage, then that's something that you can really take advantage of this year. But if not, you're going to have to just either look at trucking it a little bit further, maybe to catch a little bit better bid.
We have farmers in the fields, of course, harvesting right now, and we continue to get those reports that harvest a little bit behind right now in terms of the amount of harvesting done from what we would see maybe in years previously, because a lot of those crops got planted later this year. It's not too much of a difference, though. So, Jacob, is that small difference, is that much to affect the markets at all?
Absolutely. I mean, what we're seeing is, yes, we were behind for a long time, but when you don't get rain across a large portion of the Corn Belt during the middle of harvest, it catches up really, really fast. So now you have a market that, we're not shipping it down the river, and you got all these end users, all these elevators that are filling up really fast once it started. And so that's another thing that's hurting our bids is harvest is not drawn out. You get these elevators, they don't have time to logistically get beans in or get corn in even, and then get it moved out to processors or get it moved out to rails or whatever we need to do wherever it goes logistically. So the speed of the harvest is actually hurting us a little bit too. Processors aren't able to get their hands on as much and you'll be able to trade as much grain this year because it's it didn't come for a while, then it's all hitting right now, and we're having a hard time getting it moved.
What did we see on the livestock side of the markets today?
Livestock was really a strong day here. If you look across all three complexes, really 50 higher across the live cattle market. Your feeder cattle were up $2.50, and we kind of had an interesting dynamic in the hog market where we end up December up $2. But this cutouts were strong this morning, coming out like $2.50 higher, and that kind of triggered some of that other technical buying. We ended up closing at $3.80, went traded back above $90.80 in the October hog complex. So a relatively strong day across the grains, especially whenever you didn't see a big dive in the corn market or anything like that. Technically it's been seeing like a U-shaped bottom. So we've been having a little bit higher lows, and I think the market is probably a little bit caught oversold. And there's some buying interest down here at some of these levels, so at least gives us an idea of where people are interested in buying these live cattle and these hogs.
Jacob, for more great analysis on the markets, where should our viewers head to when they want to find out more from agmarket.net?
So we just encourage you to go to our website, agmarket.net. We have an awesome plethora of intel that we send out. We send a lot of different emails. We have 2 webinars a day. So sign up for that 30-day free trial. Of course, you can look at the About Us section on there, take in more about who we are and all of our brokers. You can just give us a call here at 608-384-5438.
He's Jacob Burks from agmarket.net. Jacob, thank you again. Always great to talk with you, and we'll look forward to another visit here soon.
Hey, thanks for having me. You have a good day.
That was Jacob Burks of agmarket.net, and now we're going to check in on how the numbers closed, and those numbers courtesy of the folks at Bar Chart.
December corn is up a cent at $6.84 even. Soybeans for November down 13 3/4 at $13.69 3/4. Soybean meal for December down 3 cents even at $3.9850. Soybean oil for December is up 52 cents at $65.54. Chicago wheat down 1 even at $9.02 even. Minneapolis wheat is up 5 1/4 at $9.81 1/2. Kansas wheat is up 1 1/2 at $9.90 1/4. On the Merc, live cattle for October up 47 cents at $144.67. Feeder cattle for October up $1.90 at $176.55. October lean hogs up $3.80 at $90.80. Pork cutouts for December up $1.65 at $87.32. And Class 3 milk down 14 cents at $22.12.
And that was a check of our ag market recap here on Ag Matters PM. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break now, hear from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association, and the Soy Checkoff. And when we return, I will talk with Zach Leiser of Growmark. This is Ag Matters PM.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
Welcome back to AM/PM on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Mark Magnuson. Today, I talk with Zach Leiser, Agronomy Technology Service Manager at Growmark. Had a chance to speak with Zach at the Farm Progress Show where we talked about water runoff and its effect on the environment.
Zach, what did you want to tell us about today as far as what you have in your tent set up here at day number 2 of Farm Progress?
Yeah, so we've got a nice little display here that's kind of illustrating the different types of runoff that are going to affect our waterways. And the nice thing about this display is it actually piggybacks right into our trailer over here that's showing the different cover crops, things that you can put onto your farming systems to prevent some of that runoff. What we've got set up, if you don't mind, I'll use a little bit of this stuff.
Sure, go ahead.
When it comes to runoff, anything like that in the industry, we're going to have stuff from industrial areas. We've got some construction sites where we might have something going on. Obviously, runoff coming from our homes, golf courses as they go out and fertilize, things along those lines. And obviously, when we got our farm ground, that's a big topic of conversation in a variety of areas. The biggest thing that we want to illustrate is not all of the runoff and things that are heading down to the Gulf are coming from the farmland. There's a lot of different things that are feeding into that. So as the rain comes through and does its thing, we're going to get runoff from those industrial sites, possibly some runoff from different forage things that operations that are going on, golf courses, construction sites, homes, so forth and so on. All that stuff is going to eventually feed its way into the water systems and make its down into some sort of water basin. again, as we go through and look at the trailer that Jay's got set up over there, what we can do with our farming operations is we've got a variety of things that we can do to try and capture that type of runoff and let the soil system do its natural process of trying to filter out and capture as much of those technically negative, if you wanted to classify it that way, but different things that we're putting into our farming operations that's going to be healthy for the soil, maybe less healthy down the way. But we've got good ways to capture that within the operations or within the farming systems.
And let's get right into it then. What are some of those good ways to try and capture some of that runoff?
Yep, we've got the ability to go through there with different cover crops is probably the biggest thing that we can use to capture a lot of that. No-till practices, making sure that the soil profile is going to maintain a healthy, a decent amount of aeration. So again, as water does its thing, it's going to be able to seep into the soil, as opposed to farming practices that go through with continuous tillage or hard tillage. That's going to create some pretty compact soils. So as the rain hits it, it's going to obviously have to go somewhere as opposed to into the soil profile.
Is it kind of fun to have this visual learning tool to have when producers and farmers and just anyone stops by and they get a chance to see this visually?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great illustration. And again, coupled up with what Jay's got set up over there, we can talk about, hey, here's the problem, here's the bigger issue across the industry, and then very specifically to farming, we can illustrate, hey, here are the things that we can put into practice today. Farmers have the opportunity to do these things, and here's what the impact's going to look like.
So with FS specifically, how are you guys able to help implement these practices? Is it just through education and getting the word out about how these different options for farmers can help to slow things down like the runoff?
Yep, first and foremost, that's absolutely the right way to go about it. We got to educate. We have to make sure that the farmers understand that when we go through these practices, we can still help them maintain profitability. You know, that's the biggest thing with farming operations. You want to make sure that if you go through and implement something new, there might be an additional cost to that, but we can offset that cost by showing how it's going to improve soil health and at the same time lead to more profitable yields down the road.
So is that first hurdle then to get over? If a farmer hears the words that it's going to be a little bit more expensive on the front end, you have to say yes, but it does pay off down the road?
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. And again, it's educating those guys about, hey, here's the realistic timeline for that stuff to work, and then here are the benefits that you're going to see along the way as the soil profile is building itself back up.
Zach, is there anything else you'd like to let our viewers and listeners know about when it comes to what Growmark is working with, or what FS is working with here, and what you're trying to get across as far as your message?
Nope, I think that's a great start for today.
That was Zach Leiser of Growmark, but for right now, let's take a look at the ag weather outlook. Here in Des Moines, in the central part of the state, we've had a little bit of some strange fall weather here this morning, as we've had some thunder, some lightning, we've had some rain sprinkles, but not too much in the way of rain. Mostly cloudy skies, but still seeing some blue sky peeking through. And there will be a chance for some rain showers later this evening in parts of the state of Iowa. But for right now, let's take a look at what the National Weather Service has in store for the next 24 hours.
As you can see from the National Weather Service, we have had some rain and thunderstorms across the state today. Storms moving across the state with highs in the low to mid 70s. For tonight, chances for rain showers in the early evening with mostly clear to partly cloudy skies later in the evening. Lows overnight should range from the upper 40s to mid 50s. Tomorrow, mostly sunny skies across most of the state with a chance for scattered showers in the east. Highs in the upper 50s to mid 70s. Checking out the affiliate weather map for tomorrow, Cherokee will have partly cloudy skies and a high of just 58. Shenandoah, partly cloudy and warmer with a high of 74. Des Moines, partly cloudy and a high of 69. Albia, partly cloudy with a high near 72. Waterloo, partly cloudy and 66. And Clinton, partly cloudy with a chance for showers and a high of 71.
For a more detailed forecast in your part of the state, check with your local Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network affiliate. And that's been a check of the Ag Weather Outlook. And that also brings us to the end of another episode of Ag Matters PM. As always, you can find all of our content on our website at iowaagnet.com. You can also follow us on social media at Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. And you can find all of our video content on our YouTube channel. And while you're on our YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell as well. That will let you know whenever we post any new video content. And as always, don't forget our free twice daily market podcast that are found wherever you find your favorite podcast on Apple, Amazon, Google, Spotify, and Podbean. From the IARN studios in Des Moines, I'm Mark Magnuson. On behalf of Riley Smith and Dustin Huffman, We thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.